Hello everyone! Today's class is super exciting because this is a full body stretch. I've been doing this sequence on my own for years, morning and night, and so currently this is the routine that I do every morning after a workout or a yoga flow, and every night before I go to bed. And I find that it makes me feel very mobile and energetic and awake throughout the day, and it helps me to sleep better at night. So hopefully, whatever time of day that you're practicing this, I hope that it can give you the same benefits. It's gonna be super relaxing. You'll feel very relieved afterwards. Nothing too harsh or heated here today, very relaxed and slow. If you'd like to, you can grab a block or a stack of books and just take it to the side of your mat. You might want it later. Those can come in handy when you need elevation for your hands or beneath you. So I'll let you know if we're in a pose when you might want to use a prop. But if you're ready, get on your mat and we'll get started. We're gonna start standing up today. Take your feet wider than hip width apart. Maybe rock a little back and forth to really find your foundation and standing tall. Take a moment here to bring your hands together in prayer. Softening the eyes and just noticing how you feel so far today. Maybe it's first thing in the morning for you, or maybe you're just ending your day. And if you're starting your day, notice how you feel after waking up. Maybe you woke up on the wrong side of the bed, and this flow will turn that around for you, or maybe give you energy for your day. And if you're doing this in the evening or night, maybe you're taking this time to reflect on whatever the day brought to you, any emotions, feelings. Maybe your body is exhausted and this will give you relief before you rest for the night. Taking a moment to just sit in stillness with whatever you're feeling and whatever you want to feel from this practice. Deepening the breath. Preparing our mind to be present in this practice. Then softly fluttering open the eyes, releasing your hands at your sides, and then taking a big inhale as you reach your hands up overhead, and exhaling as you release back down. Let's do that a few more times. Inhale, exhale back down. Big inhale, reach up. And exhale. One more time. And taking your hands out to a T, take your right hand down your right thigh as you reach your left hand up and over for a nice side body stretch here. Breathing into those tight spaces. And then see if you can tilt your chest to shine towards the ground, bringing your armpit and face forward towards the earth. You should feel a slightly different stretch down your lower back here. Then releasing your arms and floating your way over to the other side, remaining with your gaze towards the earth, reaching towards your left side now. opening up the lower back body, and then shining your chest upwards towards the sky, coming back to that side stretch, and then releasing back up to center. From here, open your arms back out to that T and lower down with a flat back here, finding length in your spine, lowering down about halfway, sending your gaze towards the earth, and then letting everything go, dropping your upper body, bringing your hands to your shins or your thighs. If this doesn't feel super good on your hamstrings, you can bring a bend in your knees, or this might be a point when you'd want to place your block at its tallest point on the floor so that you can have something to hold on to elevate you. Wherever you are, maybe swaying a little side to side, starting to warm up the hips and hamstrings, all in soft, gentle movements, taking it slow. And then come to stillness. Bring your left hand either to the outside of your right foot, or you can take it to your right leg. Wherever you are though, sending your right hand up and overhead, opening your chest up to the right side or even kind of behind you, and leaning into that right hip. If you're doing the modified version, keeping both hands on your right leg and just sending your chest as close to your right leg as you can. Stay here for one more cycle of breath. And then releasing your hands and floating your way to the other side. Taking your right hand down to the mat outside your left foot and extending your left hand up above you. Deepening into that left hip. You can even bend your right leg here if that helps you to feel this stretch more comfortably. If you're not here, you've got both hands on your left leg. Staying here for one more breath. And then releasing back down, grabbing hold of your shins and taking a little bit of a squat here, opening up the knees and then coming back up to extend. Let's do that again. Bending into a deep squat and extending. One more time. Bend and back up. Then bend your knees generously and sweep your hands up overhead to come to standing. And we're going to come to the top of your mat now. Feet about hip width apart, reaching the hands up overhead. Take a big inhale. And then exhale as you fold all the way down. Plant the palms, bend your left leg as you step your right foot back behind you, keeping that hip width between each foot. If this doesn't feel comfortable for you, you can come on your fingertips, you can grab onto your block or stack of books. You can also keep your front leg bent to the point where the stretch feels good. You don't want to feel strain, you want to find that nice point where it feels good and relieving. If you're super flexible, you can bend all the way in towards your left leg, but never exceeding your limit. Keeping those hips square. Aiming for a nice lengthened flat back here, gazing towards your toes. And then maybe lifting your back toes just to feel that stretch a little bit further. And then bending your left leg and sending your right toes back further into a low lunge. Keeping your hands on the ground here. Squeezing the inner thighs towards the midline. Take a big inhale. And exhale. From here, lean into your right hand. Turn onto the outer edge of your right foot and the outer edge of your left foot to press your left knee away from you, leaning your weight onto that right hip. If you can't go all the way down, don't worry about it. Go where it feels good for you. This should feel a little bit different, more towards your glutes. And then slowly rotating back onto your toes and sending your left foot back to a high plank and then meeting me in downward dog. Claw through those fingertips, pedal out the feet here, stretching one leg and then the other. And then walking your feet to the top of your mat. Bend your knees generously and reach up high as you come to stand. Take a big inhale up here. And exhale, bringing your hands to prayer at your heart. Inhale, reaching up. And as you exhale this time, folding all the way down. Bend those knees generously. Bring your palms to the earth. This time, stepping your left foot back behind you and straightening out your right leg to the point where it feels good for you. Maybe holding on to some blocks for some elevation. Keeping both toes pointing towards the top edge of your mat and your hips squared. Take a big inhale. And maybe as you exhale, folding forward deeper, just a little bit more in towards your right leg. Continuing that steady breath to be your constant guide in keeping you present here. Then gently bending that right leg and sending your left toes back further to take you into that low lunge. Squaring off your hips, squeeze your inner thighs to the midline. Find strength as you hover that back knee off the ground, opening up the hips. Then leaning into that left hand, turning onto the outer edge of your left foot and the outer edge of your right foot, dropping your left hip closer towards the earth, going as far as you feel comfortable going. There's no pressure. Maybe even super gently pressing open the right knee to feel that stretch a bit further, gazing behind you. Then gently rolling back onto the toes into that high lunge. Plant your palms, step your right foot back into that high plank and back up to downward dog. Finding those sweet spots that feel good. Then bring your big toes to touch. Ground through that left heel and extend your right leg up high behind you, squaring off the hips. Take a big inhale. And as you exhale, shift forward, sending your knee to your nose, and then dropping your right foot to the ground, then your shin, then your knee, and lowering that back knee down to the earth. Keeping almost a 90-degree angle in your front leg. If that doesn't feel good to you, bending your knee to send your ankle closer towards your hips is going to feel a lot better and easier on your legs. You can also bring a blanket or a block underneath you here to give you some elevation. Really focusing on squaring those hips forward. It's not going to be 100% there here in this pose, but just aiming for it will help you to find the correct stretch. Another modification you can do for this pose is you can lie on your back, keeping your knees bent, taking your right ankle to meet the top of your right thigh, and opening up that right knee, and then grabbing onto your left thigh and pulling your leg in closer to you as you press that right knee away at the same time. This is a bit of a softer version of this stretch, so you're welcome to do it on both sides if that feels better for you. Just remaining in that position if you'd like to, or if not, you are with me in this seated version. And then if you'd like to go a little bit further, you can bring your forearms to the earth, maybe even rest your head on a block, or folding completely forward if that feels good to you. And take this moment to bring awareness to any areas in your body where you might be tensing or holding that need to be let go. Allow your breath to soften you deeper into the stretch, finding comfort in this relief. Then wherever you are, reaching your hands towards the right side, grounding through that left hip, feeling the stretch a little differently. And then walking your hands through center and over to the left side. This time grounding through your right hip. Opening up those glutes, the hips, the hamstrings. Really getting a full body stretch. And then walk your hands back to center and come back to sit up if you were lowered before. Tucking the back toes under and finding your way back to downward dog. You can feel it so good already. Bring your big toes to touch, ground through that right heel and extend your left leg up behind you. Squaring off the hips, take a big inhale. And then as you exhale, shifting forward, knee to nose, dropping your foot towards the earth, then your shin, then your knee, and lowering your back knee down towards the mat. Take a moment to square off your hips. Maybe bring your ankle in a bit closer to you or farther, depending on what you feel and what you need. Take a moment here to sit up nice and tall. And then maybe taking it a little bit further, bringing your hands down towards the earth, maybe your forearms, maybe bringing a block into the pose here, or maybe lowering completely. Sticking to what your body needs. All variations of this pose and any pose are perfectly good and effective. It all depends on what you personally need in your beautiful body. Let the head hang heavy. Sending your tailbone towards the earth. Letting go of any areas where you might be tensing. And then reaching over to that left side, wherever you are, and sending your right hip closer to the earth. Then walking your hands back through center. Take your hands to your right side and soften into that left hip. This is always where I personally feel the stretch the deepest, and so I love it. But of course, if this feels too intense for you, it's definitely best to lay back just a little, softening where you need to, releasing where you need to. And then walking your hands back to center to come back up. And then swing your right leg forward to come to sit. Then from your seat, I'm gonna turn to center here. You may want to as well. With your knees in towards your chest, bring the soles of your feet to touch as you open your knees out wide. And here's another good point when you might want to use those blocks, maybe bringing one under each knee or even sitting up on one to kind of loosen the stretch a little bit. Bringing your heels in to where it feels comfortable for you. I like to bring my heels in pretty close, but you can also keep them out far. Usually both ways will give you a slightly different stretch. So finding what feels good to you here, sitting up nice and tall, grounding through the sit bones into the earth. Then from here, taking your right hand to the right side and your left hand to your left knee, pressing away, opening up that left hip as you lower your torso towards your right leg. Nothing too forceful, just keeping our left side of our body nice and open. Taking a moment to breathe. And then releasing back up to center and over to the other side, bringing your left hand down to the mat and your right hand to your right leg to open up that right hip and the right side of your body. I also feel this in the lower back a little bit, so I always love that because I get a lot of tension in my lower back sometimes. Continuing to breathe. And then coming back up to center, this time reaching forward as far as you're comfortable doing so. Walking your hands out in front of you or even out to your sides. Folding forward, finding length in the spine, going as far and deep as it feels good for you without feeling strain. Inhaling to find length. And maybe deepening just a little bit further on your exhale. Then slowly making your way back up to a seat. Extend your right leg out to the corner of your mat. Bringing that left heel in a bit closer to your body. Sitting up nice and tall and then reaching for your toes with your right hand. Opening up the chest up high as you reach overhead. And then just like at the start of class, shifting your gaze towards the earth, sending your chest towards your leg. Inhale to rise just a little bit, finding length. And then exhale to sink a little deeper. This feels so good on my lower back. I don't know about you, but I love this pose, especially at night after a long day. Then gently making your way back up. Bringing your right leg in and your left leg out. Taking that left heel towards the corner of your mat and your right heel in towards your hips. Then reaching for those left toes and extending your right arm up above you as you open your chest up towards the sky. Reaching forward, feeling that side body stretch, and then sending your gaze towards the earth, turning your chest towards your leg. Continuing to breathe. I apologize for the yard work going on nearby, but I am choosing to embrace it and let go of expectations that we have for this practice. Inhale to rise just a little bit, finding length, and exhale to sink just a little bit deeper. Then come back up to sitting. We're gonna turn onto our stomach, coming to the ground, lowering to your belly here. And from here, you can rest your head on a block or on your hands. And then we're gonna just bend our right leg, sending your right heel close to your glute. Just getting a soft little stretch in the front thighs. Staying here for just a moment, opening up the front side of the leg, and then letting go, switching legs, bending your left knee to send your left ankle close to your glute here. Then letting go, bringing your hands to about your ribs, pulling your elbows back and your shoulders back, and then press onto the tops of your feet and lift into an upward facing dog. Maybe even letting your thighs and knees hover off the ground. And then coming to a table and finding your cat and cow, dropping your belly as you inhale, and then tucking your chin into your chest, pulling the back body up towards the sky as you exhale. One more time. Inhale, dropping the belly. Exhale, everything reverses back up towards the sky. Then from here, find a neutral spine. You can keep your knees together or as wide as your mat and send your hips back onto your heels for child's pose. Melting your chest towards the earth, sinking a bit deeper into those hips, letting everything go. Take a big inhale here. And as you exhale, maybe sinking just a little bit deeper into the hips, reaching a little bit further with the hands as you melt towards the earth. Then when you're ready, you'll walk your hands back towards you to come to a seat. Either sitting in a cross-legged position or just sitting up on your knees here. Finding length in the spine to bring you nice and tall. Your hands at your knees or at your heart in prayer. Take a moment to just observe how your body feels now after all that we've done for it today. Maybe before this practice you were feeling tense and stiff, or exhausted, or not well rested, and maybe now you feel relieved and open and loose and mobile and relaxed. Maybe before the start of this class you didn't feel your best emotionally or mentally, and maybe now you feel a bit more uplifted. Take a moment to notice how you feel mentally and physically as you allow your breath to return to its natural state. This practice today is all about sending love to our body, giving it the relief and comfort that it needs after all it does every single day to work so hard to keep us alive and functioning. Take a big inhale. And as you exhale, bow your head in towards your hands to express gratitude for your body and for yourself, because you showed up today and that is amazing. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me in this class today. I hope you feel amazing now, and I hope you can feel like you can keep coming back to this class again and again whenever you need to. Thank you so much. See you next time.